Today we're going to take a quick look at fitting intercom kits into the Arai range of helmets. Specifically in front of me I've got the QUANTIC here. We're going to show you how to fit the dedicated ACS10 unit on the right. However, this also stands for the other intercom systems that Sena have, 50Rs, SF4s, plenty more in the range to have a look over. So let's get into it. Now that we have our helmet out and ready to go, the first thing we want to be doing is undoing the chin strap on the inside of the helmet, popping the visor all the way into the open position, and then we can start on removal of the cheek pads. So on the inside of the helmet itself, the cheek pad in an Arai is held in with just a press fit, so there is no clips, nothing to release, nothing to pop out. Grab the cheek pad at the top corner and pull towards the inside of the helmet. You'll notice a nice pop as it comes away from the lid, and you can remove your cheek pad. Simply the other side is just a case of repeating the same process. On the inside at the top corner, you want to pull and you'll feel the cheek pad come away from the helmet and out it comes. We can pop the helmet to one side for a minute and we can start opening up the ACS10 intercom system designed for the Arai helmets. Once we've opened this one up, you'll see your two cheek pads, your main unit that sits around the rear collar of the helmet, and the control interface just on the side. Pulling all of this out of the box. Don't forget, just underneath in a secondary compartment, you have all of your mounting pads, some Velcro, charging cables, as well as the microphone we're going to be needing. The next step in getting the intercom fitted is removing both of the speakers from the main unit itself. Keep those to one side, we'll be using them in a second just to fit them into the cheek pads. Moving over to the helmet itself, the rear portion of the crown liner is held in with two little studs at the back, and if you give them a pull, you'll hear a nice little pop. Same thing over onto the other side, and this is what is going to lock in to the two oval rings we have either side of the main battery portion here. So grabbing this and sliding it down the back into the recess between the collar and the actual EPS foam itself, you can just tuck it down into place, making sure all of the wires are held up and out of the way. You can then replace the crown pad, making sure your yellow studs are going through those two oval clips and clipping them down into place. Same thing over on the other side. Make sure it's nice and clipped in and that unit is secured in the back. As you might have seen as well, this is where your charging port is located on the unit, direct into the battery here. They do come with the charging cable, which does have a right hand or a 90-degree right angle charger, just to make things a bit easier when you're plugging things in and out. We can now pop the helmet to one side and we can move back to working on those cheek pads as well as the speakers for each. There is no side to these speakers, so it doesn't matter which one they go in when they're unplugged. The main controller unit handles all of the audio to each speaker itself. So getting these fitted is just a case of pulling the sock off of the cover itself, grab your speaker. You want to place it into the recess that Arai has helpfully created. The wire you can tuck back through the hole that the chin strap would run through, and you can see it appear at the rear here. Pulling the cable through, and now you can see that we have our speaker wire hidden in the back of the cheek pad where it's not going to become an issue when putting the helmet on and off. Pop the cover back over, cheek pads located, wiring's tucked away nicely. We'll do the same thing over on the other one. Pull the sock, place the speaker into its nice little recess, and the wiring just runs through the cutout for that chin strap, pulling it nice and tight, and then replacing your cover back over the top again. And now you can see we've got two cheek pads with both of their speaker wiring hanging out of the back, ready to be installed into the helmet. So let's finish up getting the few remaining wires inside of the helmet located, stuck down and tucked where they need to be, and then we can move on to fitting the cheek pads as well as the microphone that we saw earlier. So the first step in this is pulling the collar portion out. It just slides into the front, so just pull it back towards the rear and you'll see it slide out of the way. The main control unit itself is just a 3M backed piece, and it just sticks onto the side of the helmet like that. Once that's installed, fitted and ready to go, you can replace that neck collar that Arai give you by just slotting it back into the groove and making sure that everything sits flush against the side. So as you can see there, the wiring is tucked underneath the collar itself and the unit is sitting nicely sit. In regards to the disc antenna that you'll see on the inside of the wiring circuit, you can just tuck this between the EPS foam itself and the shell of the helmet. Give it a push, lock it into place, and that one tucks away nicely. Moving on to finally getting the microphone installed. On the left hand side or left cheek pad of the helmet, in the interior, you will see a red plastic push clip. This is going to be for your docked microphone that we will find inside the accessories bag from earlier. It's just a case of clipping it in. One side will go in and one side won't. Push, clip, and we can grab a small piece of the sticky back Velcro inside the pack. Peel it back, stick it into the front chin bar of the helmet. I always like to offset mine just to the left, so there's no chance that you're going to be sort of catching the microphone with anything that you've got inside. Get the microphone stuck down into place, and you can just tuck that wiring, which will be hidden behind the cheek pad on the inside. Moving on to the cheek pads, we'll go with the left hand side first, as this is where we've got the most amount of wiring to tuck and hide away, and the right side's a fair bit easier to get tucked into place. First things you want to do is that speaker wire that we left remaining. Locate the second side to this, which should be down with the main wiring unit somewhere, just tucked onto the inside, which you might be able to see there on my hand. Again, plugging your wiring into place, a nice click, and we know that we're into the position. Keeping all the wiring tucked. You don't want anything too tight. You'll run into the risk of potentially pulling a cable, but also not too much slack as well. We don't want anything to be visible or anything to possibly get snagged. Feed the double D-ring chin strap through the hole itself onto the cheek pad, pulling all the way through, and then you can replace the front portion of the cheek pad and then snap the back portion down into. As you can see in there, we've got it all neatly tucked away. There's no wiring hanging out, nothing left to see. The microphone is hidden away just in the front there, and our wiring on the side for the main unit is neatly tucked around the collar. So let's move on to the right hand side cheek pad. Rinse and repeat with the same sort of thing. Grab your connector, make sure these two are plugged in together, like so. Once clipped, locked into place, you can grab the other side of your chin strap, feed that through the back of your cheek pad, pull nice and tight, and then from the front first, pushing the rear down second. You want to lock that cheek pad in and then give some pressure, and down it goes into place. Pull the cheek pads through, make sure they're nice and tight, nothing sitting out of place, everything looks straight and square. And that is our intercom kit fitted into the Arai range. This does also fit models including the RX7V Evo. It is also compatible with the QUANTIC, the older sort of colorways and generations. There hasn't been much changed in terms of the shape, just the paintworks. So this should work for just about all of them. And it is a very, very similar process for fitting a universal intercom into these. However, you just won't have that nice tight battery pack sitting into the rear of the unit. You'll have a bit more going on with the side. The helmet, as well as any intercom kits or anything, will all be available down low. I'll have a couple of links to these 2 direct products, as well as some of the other ones that will be available through links on our website. Any questions, technical difficulties, anything like that, of course, we are always happy to help with intercom systems. They can be a bit tricky at times. Some of the pre-built systems for certain intercoms can also be a bit of a nightmare to get fitted. So let us know if anything that you've struggled with or anyone that you've had problems with, and we'll see if we can get a video created for that. Thank you.